anxiety, like overthinking, which then leads to fear, and like, and at the root of it, it's just the fear. But I kind of have actively like avoided that, and then, you know, I took over the Instagram. We did this amazing live stream last week, which felt incredible because, you know, I felt very connected to everyone. But I was just so fearful on the Thursday, and I was like, I've got to display my life, and what if people don't like my life, and what if people expect me to be this, and what if people expect me to be that, and oh my God, I'm awful, and like nobody's gonna love me, and that's it, and this life is over. And it was just like, it was crazy because my brain ended up going like 1,000 miles an hour, and I had to really like still myself, and I think also like being honest about that whilst I was doing the takeover was really helpful too. Like being like, look, I'm finding this difficult. Like I don't find this easy. It's not something that is very natural to me. I've never done what we do or done what I do for like anyone's like, for like approval, you know. Like I've kind of always done what I do because I love to do what I do, and I love to tell the truth, and I love to like be connected to other people. But yeah, it was an interesting experience. It was an interesting experience. And you've got it on Saturday.
I'm doing it on Saturday.
I'll be here for you, mate, if you need me.
I'm quite looking forward to it. What really freaks me about this platform on Instagram in general, it's just like the echo chamber that it can be, and it can completely warp your perceptions of what reality can just be like, because you're surrounded by, you know, like the people that, you know, you follow and that follow you, and you know, it's quite similar. And the more you get like sucked into it, the more you get drawn into it, the narrower your field of vision goes. And I find that really difficult, especially for what's going on in the world. And, you know, because everyone can post a certain message or something, and you can start to think that that's like how things are, and then it's really different from that. And that freaks me out like a lot, and I find it can be quite dangerous in that way. So
yeah, I think I said this to somebody last week, Gemma, who's probably on this, who's probably here. Hi Gemma, if you're here. Like, a lot of the things that we see on this platform from famous people or celebrities are like the best moments of their life. It's like, here I am in my beautiful house with my beautiful car, and isn't my life amazing? But that's just material possession. Like, are you happy? Like what? Like and where are your difficult times? Like that's kind of what I think we should be showing, is like the truth of who we are, like our highs and our lows, and our great moments and our hard moments, and just kind of the true humanity, like kind of what it means to exist and what it means to be here, you know. Like, because if I'm young and impressionable, or even old and impressionable as I can be, and I see somebody who's got this car, that's going to feed into my desire. It's going to feed into my desire to want this car, to want this watch, to want this lifestyle, to want this, and it's all fucking unattainable. None of it's real. Like it's not. That's not going to last forever. The thing that's going to last forever is my soul and my being and my my person, you know. And I think that's kind of what we're about. I mean, that's certainly how we started this band, you know, which is the idea of just giving yourself away, and giving yourself away completely, and being like, this is me, you know.
yeah.
This is what I've gone through, and this is what I've faced. And that's amazing. I love that. I love that. I never would want to sing about having a nice watch. I can't sing about having a nice watch. I don't have a nice watch.
Don't have
well, should we start with how we started last week, which is with a reading?
Yeah, for sure.
Are we April the 2nd today?
We are indeed, yes.
Everyone ready for a reading? Everyone's ready for a reading. Okay. We must assist natural processes that serve the function of reunification. Joseph G. Hancock. Some families in mild climates have begun to experiment with unified living, recycling wastes, growing food, and using only renewable sources like the sun and the wind for power. Seen from the 12th floor of an apartment building in sub-zero weather, this is a radical gesture, yet it's a conservative way of living, asking for little, spoiling nothing, and putting back into earth everything that's taken out. We can all put back what we take out, but are we as careful of our emotional and spiritual processes, or do we block them or try to erase them or hoard them up? The universe is one sphere. Energy flows through polar bears and bacteria and Republicans and cranberries. Surrendering to the flow is our only way of achieving personal reunification. I can assist natural process of giving my assent, choosing unity. I struggled with that one this morning. I'm not. I read that when I woke up this morning, and I was like, "What is that like? What is that about?" I suppose for me, like, what comes up when I read that, and particularly when it's talking about the people who are doing unified living, recycling waste and growing food and using only renewable sources like the sun and the wind for power, and conservative way of living, asking for nothing, spoiling nothing, and putting back into the earth everything that's taken out. But are we not doing the same for ourselves? Like, I think that for me, when I read that, the idea that came up was like, can I ever block growth of myself spiritually by not being true and therefore not recognizing what's going on? So for instance, if I'm feeling angry, or if I'm, well, anger, fear is at the base, but if I'm feeling afraid and I'm not talking about being afraid, I'm blocking my ability to be able to move on from that fear. I'm blocking my ability. I'm finding it hard to face. Yes, of course, it's hard to face. Like, of course, fear is hard to face sometimes because we have to go comfortable situations and uncomfortable feelings and uncomfortable emotions. But the only way that I can grow from that is to be able to recognize the fears, to recognize the feeling that comes with that, sit in it, and then move forward from it and under it, you know. And so, like, if I'm avoiding it, just kind of doing other things, I'm never going to learn and I'm never grow. Whereas if I can go,
Oh, hello.
hello,
You back?
my back.
I think you're back.
Yeah, you can hear me?
Yeah, sorry. Continue.
Yeah, and I think that's what that means for me. I think. What does it mean for you? I just pontificated for
Yeah,
forever.
I
Do you want me
think.
to read it again?
No, I'm with you. No, I was with you for it. I think it's, yeah, as you say, it's about kind of like forcing things out. Like burying things as a way to cope with them. That's what it comes to me about the kind of like emotional equivalent to kind of, I don't know what the term was, but it was like renewable living. It's kind of like the emotional equivalent to that, allowing that process to happen rather than just burying everything as a way of kind of coping. It's very much this like stiff upper lip, kind of in a way that I was brought up as well. Like, I remember growing up and like being told that the way that I was feeling was like not the right way to deal with it. Like, I was emotional about something and that I shouldn't be emotional about it. Like, the way that I'm going to get past it is by like putting a barrier between me and that, and like detaching from the environment. And it's only quite recently, that probably within like the past 3 or 4 years, that I've learned to kind of not do that, and to be vocal and to allow those feelings and emotions to pass. And it's like, So that for me is a big thing, and it can be in so much stuff like this, and it ties into kind of so much stuff with how we live and the world around us, that we feel like we constantly have to be doing something, or that we constantly have to do this, and that the best way to do it is just to, you know, shut off, and then just, you know, then you can cope with it. And it's, I don't know, it doesn't work for me. It ends up making me more unhappy. But then I think on the other side there is a balance. There's like, it's really important to know the balance of things that you can do to help yourself. For me, it was like, in the past year, I've realized that exercise is so good for my mental health, that it's something that I know that if I'm feeling shit, or if I'm like down and having like negative thoughts about myself or my own well-being, I can recognize that, but I've also got to know what does help me in those scenarios, if that makes sense. Like, and I know that if I'm exercising, like, I will feel much better, and I will, you know, and I can't really explain why, but it is something that will improve my state of mind along, you know, by a lot. And it was never something that I kind of rationally thought about beforehand. I was always just like, I never linked the two. And it can be anything. It doesn't have to be exercise, but it's, you know, it's also knowing. I think it's knowing and allowing those feelings to come, but then being able to help yourself get through them emotionally, and sometimes, you know, through other means, as long as they're positive and, you know, healthy. And I think we all are able. I think we're all able to know those things. And more, you know, it's a big reason I think why we do music as well, is because that's a channel for us to put those feelings through, and to be able to, you know, get through them. So it's for me, it's like knowing those balances, because you can go so far where you just block everything out, but that's not good, you know. And I think that's what that passage was kind of, you know, talking about for me anyway. And then having the other side of it, where you can go, how can I help myself in this situation through other means, through other positive kind of means. So yeah, that's. But I know what you mean. Like, it is quite a difficult. It's quite a difficult one, that one today.
It is, yeah. It's not. It's not. It requires. It requires sort of picking apart. I feel, for me. I think for me, not I feel, but I think. Yeah, and I think what you say about like finding healthy outlets for process is really important. I certainly, in my life and over the last like 7 years, or maybe my 5 years, have kind of had to face lots of parts of myself, and in doing, facing lots of parts of myself, and in facing lots of my emotion, or lots of like thinking, that naturally brings up like a feeling, you know, like it brings up a feeling. Guilt, you know, can come up, and how am I going to deal with guilt? Am I going to do what I did 10 years ago, and like we talk about, like avoid it completely, just avoid it and pretend like it's not happening, and use everything else around me to try and pretend like it's not happening, and oh god, how can I manage this? Or am I going to allow it to be? Am I going to allow it to be? And if I'm going to allow it to be, that's okay. Like, that's okay. I'm going to feel things, and if I need to take a lie down in it, then I need to take a lie down and take a minute. Like, it's totally fine. But if, as long as I'm forward with it, and if the inner child is like afraid, you know, and also coming to terms with like our past and other people.
Be more somber.
Yeah, exactly. Be more somber. Okay, so I'm going to open up to questions. I'm going to kick you off, and I'm literally going to accept the first person. So if you have requested to be in this video, be prepared to ask a question. Okay, or not. I don't mind. It's not up to me. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, here we go. Right. Go live with. Who have I got here? Virginie, you're back. Oh, why not then? You're the top of the list. Actually, do you know what, Virginie? I'm going to do Nathan. Nathan does music. I'm requesting you. Here we go.
Hi.
Hello. How are you?
Hello. I'm great. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. I'm very, very good. Where are you?
I'm in the UK at the moment. I'm in the southwest.
Oh, whereabouts?
But I'm in my garden at the moment.
Lovely. Whereabouts in the southwest of England are you?
I'm in Devon.
Beautiful. I love that part of the world. I love that part of the world. I feel very, very connected to that part of the world. I love I go to Cornwall quite often, and I'll go camping down in Cornwall. So yes, I know Devon. I know Devon quite well. I think Sam knows Devon very, very well as well.
Awesome.
But yes, and yours.
Nathan.
Hi, Nathan. I'm Jamie. Do you have a question?
God. I didn't think that you'd actually accept. Sorry, I'm shaking quite a lot.
That's okay.
I didn't actually think that you'd accept my request, so I've got to think of a question. Okay. I've been trying to find things to do while I'm like self-isolating down here. I've been trying guided meditations, and I've been listening to a lot of what you're saying, because it's really interesting to me. I love like the way that you think. But like, would you have any advice for me? Because I'm still like absolutely like beginner trying to get into this sort of stuff, like trying to get better, but like I don't really know like where I'm going next, so
that's okay.
any kind
know.
of pointers?
None of us know where we're going next. Don't about that. I have no idea where I'm going next, and I think in this time none of us really know where we're going next, so that's okay. Remember, as I said to Virginie last week, I think remember that it's a practice. It's a practice, and that's okay. And that's okay. And there are going to be days where it's good and you're able to be completely clear. And then there's going to be days where where there's all sorts of life shit happening and your brain is going 1,000 miles an hour and you're thinking, can I manage this? And how can I do that? And I should be doing this and I should be doing that. But that's okay. That's just your mind. That's totally fine. And, you know, everybody has to start somewhere. Like, that's the other thing as well. Like, you know, I'm what now? And I have to remind myself of this often because I'm not sure I'm always consciously aware of it, but like, if I look back at my life 5 years ago or 6 years ago and comparatively to where I am now, like, there's no way on God's green earth that like 6 years ago I would be able to look at myself in 6 years' time and go, oh, you're going to be pretty chill. Like, you're going to be able to like accept life on life's terms and that's going to be okay. Like, I was raised and that's okay. That's just part of life. And so we all have to start somewhere. It's amazing that you want to do it. It's amazing that it, like, if it helps you, and that's the best thing, but just be gentle with yourself. Always be gentle with yourself. And hey, you're doing meditation. You're not doing drugs. Like, it's pretty cool.
Believe me, I've been there. I had an alcohol problem. I'm 3 years in recovery now as well. So like, I'm trying my best. I'm trying my best.
Man. Hell yeah, dude, that's amazing. That's massive.
I know. And I'm really proud of myself. Yeah. But it's still a journey.
Hey, it is a total journey. It is a total journey. I remember when I first like went into the rooms and like when I first like met other alcoholics and all this kind of stuff, and I looked at them and I was like, oh, I'm gonna get this in 5 minutes. This is gonna be fucking easy. Like,
Yeah.
like this will be super easy. But like giving up the booze was just like the first thing. Like that was the first step.
God, yeah.
You know, and then life opens up, and there's so much more ahead of me now. Like there's so much more that I can embrace, and other people, and myself, and connectivity, action, and growth. And I need to listen. Like I need to constantly remind myself to listen, because I can fucking just talk the cows home and come home, and I do, believe it or not. And it is just a process, like you say. It's a journey, and you know, like we just said, fuck man, 3 years, amazing. You're not drinking, you're doing meditation, you're doing good shit for yourself. So that's incredible. So well done. All my love and all my power to you, and all my strength to you too, because it's people like you who keep me where I am. So I'm very, very grateful.
People like you that keep me where I am, man, honestly.
Oh, yes! I love you.
I love you too.
All right, Nathan, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna get Sam back now, but it's been a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you so much.
And you, I love you so much. Thank you for
having
me.
Courage and strength.
I love you.
Beautiful.
Later. Bye.
Bye. Right, Sammy B, where you at? Oh man, Nick.
Yeah. I'm starting to get used to this somehow. Doesn't mean I like it, but I'm starting to somehow get a routine and find useful stuff to do. So yeah.
Good for you. Adapt, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we don't really have a choice, so might as well make the best of it.
Correct. What are you gonna do? You're gonna spend your time being angry with the situation, or are you gonna do something about it?
Exactly.
That's the thing. I can often think about the end goal rather than the act of doing something, like, and doing something for the sake of doing something, and doing something because I love it. So if I'm, for instance, if I'm writing a song, or if I'm writing a poem, and I think poetry here is a good one, because that's beautiful and that's okay. It's not always easy. And life sometimes certainly does throw curveballs at you, where you're like, well, or throw curveballs at me, where I'm so focused on like outside things and trying to like manage other people, like that I lack the conscious awareness to be present in exactly what it is that I'm doing. But that's okay, and that's why for me that if I'm finding something hard and I don't want to do it, that I have to do it because I have to remind myself that I need to do it, if that makes sense. Not for the sake of doing, not for like the end result, but just because I like to do it, you know. And that's okay. Music is another one for me that's like that too. Like, I can be my harshest critic when it comes to music, and I can certainly sit there, and if something's not working immediately, and I'm not writing a song immediately, and it's not perfect and it's not beautiful, and I just get so frustrated, and I'm like, fuck it all, I can't do this shit anymore, I'm terrible, blah blah blah. But it's not always going to be great. It's not always going to be great, and that's equally fine. That's totally fine. But when it comes to studying and learning, I try to just remind myself of the fact that like I love doing what I do. I you know, I have a practice on a daily basis that I try to maintain, and sometimes I don't maintain that practice. But I love doing my practice. It's just sometimes I get resistant. Sometimes I become resistant to it because I get irritable, and because I get, you know, difficult with myself. So yeah. I suppose the advice would be what I try to do is remind myself that why I'm doing something is because I love it, not for the end result.
Thanks. That
Well,
actually helped.
does it?
Yeah. Think of the reason. Know why. Always know your why.
Exactly. Yeah. Think of exactly why rather than the result, because you may not. I know it sounds terribly morbid and a little bit catastrophic, but the thing is, and don't, God, I might say the wrong thing here, but I may not be here tomorrow. I would like to be here tomorrow. I think it would be beautiful and it would be amazing because I very much enjoy living. So God willing, I will be tomorrow. But you know, like all I have is now, here, today. That's it. It's all I have. And if I love doing something, then I love doing it.
And you can enjoy the moment. We forget that way too much to just be.
Yeah, well, we've created a society, I think, that like relies so heavily on the individual trying to sort of constantly maintain a level of achievement in order to garner like success, you know, rather than just allowing us to be like conscious of the fact that we're all made of the same fucking thing and that we're all here to love each other and to be, you know, and to be as honest as we can with each other. I live in America, you know, it's a country that's very much like full of big business thinking, and that big business thinking is incredibly selfish and doesn't lend itself to being in the moment often. Yeah, I think I got some bits of that right, and I think I got other bits of that wrong, but I will learn. I will try and learn.
That's all we can do. Always learn. Life is a process.
Life is indeed a process. Yes, it is. Well, thank you for your question.
Thank you for letting me come on. Nice. It was really lovely chatting to you.
It was nice to see you again. It's been a long time.
Yeah, too long. Hopefully soon it'll be in real life again and not over an Instagram live stream.
We'll see. What
We'll
will
see.
be, will be. All right, take care.
Yeah, you too. Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay, right, I'm going to call Sammy B back in now. Sam Bauer, are you here?
It's happening.
Hello, love.
It's happening.
How do you deal with what Janine just asked?
I think it's, for me, I don't know, like, I remember it kind of took me back to when we were all living together, in fucking Northampton. Because I was studying for my finals whilst we were in that house. I had like that, like, really, really difficult exam. It was like the last exam I had to do. And I was thinking like, and what helped me with doing it, I think I had to learn to enjoy it. I think that was the most important thing for me. Learn to enjoy the actual process, which is kind of what you touched on, like enjoying the process of actually like getting better at something rather than see it as like a chore or like a means to an end. That really, really helped me. And then it made me think of another thing. This musician called Jacob Collier, and I was talking to you about this like probably a couple months ago. He's like one of these like crazy like child genius musicians, like completely nuts. was basically saying that he grew up and his whole approach to music and towards making music was it just enjoying the actual process of making it, rather than being like, I'm gonna make this amazing song and at the end of it it's gonna be great. It was more like the actual process of making it is what I enjoy the most, and that's what is the most beneficial. So it's kind of like those two things of enjoying getting better at something and enjoy throwing yourself into it and exploring it. And then you kind of have to go a step further to the point, like it's the same with like practice and musical practice. Like you do it until it gets so unbelievably boring that you could write with one hand, a letter to someone and still play what you need to play. It's, you have to get to the point where you're so comfortable with it and then get to the point where it's just like, oh, I could do this in my sleep. And that I find is the difficult bit, is the bit where it's like, it becomes so tedious, but that's kind of when it's going in. And that's kind of when it becomes useful and repetitive in the kind of way that an exam works. Because I don't know, like going into like the whole exam system as well, it's kind of bullshit. I remember growing up and exams for us were kind of just like a test of your memory pretty much. And it was like, how well can you remember how to do this? And then when I went to Denmark, every exam I had there, they were like, yeah, you can have your notes. Like you can have all of your notes in front of you. You can have everything that you need, you can bring to the exam. And it kind of becomes a test of understanding rather than a test of memory, if that makes sense. And so that was a big mind change, but I don't know what kind of exam kind of situation they're in, but it was a massive switch of like preparation for exams, and it made it way more fresh, and it made it way more enjoyable for me. Just, yeah, pretty much going into like, I love knowing this, and I love getting to a point where I can understand this. But I find the point where it's like, oh, I have to drill this into my brain. I find that difficult. I still find it difficult, to be honest. So yeah, that was. But I think it was good. Like, yeah. But I remember, yeah, my exams in the UK were awful. I hated school. Yeah, honestly, like I hated the whole like education system of school. Like that, it never made any sense to me. The things I learned there through the people I was with and through my friend group and through growing up with those people was invaluable. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I loved that, and it was, but a lot of the stuff, it just made very little sense to me. Yeah. So wait, I didn't hate school. I hated the way like things were taught to you, and you were expected to learn through, remembering stuff. That was awful. But I love school for a lot of the other reasons, and I wouldn't be where I am today. But yeah. Without it.
Yeah, I mean, there is that side of it that is sort of the idea of regurgitation.
Yeah.
Which I suppose is difficult. I mean, I always found it difficult with drama. Like, I always found like kind of picking apart text and so on and so forth to be kind of just, I was always resistant to it for some reason. But in later life, as I've grown up, I've actually kind of understood the importance of those things that I was taught, of being able to look at the reasons why somebody does something and have somebody else explain that to you. I think that, like, for me, a lot of my behavior has always been like, well, I just want to fucking do this. I just want to fucking do this. Like, can we not just do this? Is that is that not a thing that we're not allowed to do? And the subjects that I chose and that I worked hard at, were the ones that I was allowed to do that in.
Yeah, exactly.
But I kind of loved school. Like, I really enjoyed school. I mean, the school that I went to, the social aspect of what that school was about was like the prime sort of core fundamental of
Yeah.
of the teaching method there. It was like you're all going to learn basically from each other. We're going to teach you things, but you're all going to learn way more from being around each other. And there was something so like powerful in that. And I absolutely adore school. It was amazing. So yeah.
No, I think that's true though. I think it's like you learn so much from being like in that environment. It's just the curriculum drove me insane. But then there were things like music, and for me it was also like building stuff were incredible. And those were the things I ended up going towards, like through my A levels and stuff like that. That was the stuff I was lucky enough to be able to choose and go to. And as you say, those are more the subjects that allow you to kind of stray from the kind of curriculum more. Yeah. Massive.
So I'm sat here and I pulled my guitar out earlier. I know, it's really unlike me. But I pulled my guitar out earlier and I'm contemplating, should I just do better? Should I just play better? It gets better?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Would that be a good thing to do?
I'll go for it.
Okay, I'll play It Gets Better. I'm going to put everyone up here. Oh God, it's all suddenly got very, very real. I'll let you see all my crystals and our first record up there. I'm just that cool. This might go horribly wrong. But it also might go well. It gets better, it gets better. I'm so nervous. Places I've been to, the voices I've heard, mistakes that I've lived through, the lessons I've learned. Because we're all getting older and some of us dumb. At 29, I think I'll figure it out. We all seek redemption. We all want to grow. We all want the answers to things we don't know, so please call us useless. Please call us kids. We'll hang from the rafters, we'll scream in your face. We'll settle down when we give up. So save face, get fucked. It gets better. It gets better. Say we are now, we're full of it. Run the track, cause we're taking shit up. It gets better. It gets better. Though it hurts just a little bit. Stand up if you wanna get out. No conversation with nothing to say. Save us the pleasure, get out of the way. If you've seen the bottom, if you've given up, believe me, my sister, there is hope for us. 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 Settle down when we give up. So save face and get fucked. It gets better. It gets better. Say we are now, we're full of it. Run the track, cause we're breaking shit up. It gets better. It gets that we are fucked, but I've seen a lot of things and I believe I must try and bring us all together, show a little love, 'cause things are getting better and there is a hope for us. It gets better, it gets better. Say we're young and we're full of it, run the track 'cause we're breaking shit up. It gets better, it gets better. Going hard just a little bit, stand up if you want it, get out. Man! Okay, well, the beginning of the first two choruses was ropey as fuck, but I've never done this live before, and I hate playing our new songs on acoustic guitar for some reason. I can't stand it.
You did amazing.
But, oh, mate, it was okay. It was all right. It wasn't perfect, but, you know.
Just one more. Just one more for luck, yeah?
Just one more what?
Got it.
Yeah. If we can just do that take again, that would be amazing.
Yeah. That's great.
This is the problem with live. Thank you all very much. I know I'm very red in the face. I feel terribly embarrassed. It's not. I don't like playing acoustic guitar, and particularly with these songs, I don't like doing them on acoustic guitar because they are loud rock songs. So
normally the band's there. And you
have to have
the lights. The lights are going.
There's all sorts of shit happening. Yeah. Another song. Someone requested another song. Do you know what I was playing the other day, Sam?
What?
A classic, a real classic. Honey and run, my car is waiting. We are still sheltered from sun. Get your guns up, time. That sort of saves me from the terrible version of Better that I just did.
I love that. I love Get Your Guns There. There's still life in that song.
I love that song so much. I love all old songs. It's been a long time since I played that. Can't remember.
I love all of our old songs. All the old stuff.
All the old stuff. Well, I feel terribly embarrassed, and I'm probably going to go and dig my head in sand. There will be people on this live stream who, I said this last week, have been waiting for poems. They are being uploaded as we speak, so they will be sent out within the next 3 hours, so you will receive them. I am terribly sorry that they have taken so long. As I said last week, which Sam took the piss out of me for, coronavirus did get in the way from me being totally spiritually, deeply connected. Sam, once again, it has been lovely. I am deeply, deeply, deeply apologetic for that terrible, ropey, awful cover. I will try and make that better.
It was great.
Oh, mate, thank you.
Shut up. Shut up. It was great.
Shut up, fam. All right. Well, lots of love.
You guys.
Thank you all so much for being with us. I am very grateful. Sam, are you grateful?
I'm tremendously grateful. Thank you all.
Thank you all so much. Thank you all so much for your support. It has been a bit of an interesting week for us as a band, so it has been an absolute pleasure to be able to be here with everybody. And yeah, it was a real pleasure being here today. So thank you.
Needed, yeah.
Very much.
Yeah. Thank you all.
Love you, Sam.
All right, love you too.
Bye, mate.
Bye.
Oh God, I'm still on. Bye.